This is a critically important week for the future direction of our country. For too long, and especially over the last 2 years, we've seen Washington go on a spending spree unlike anything in our nation's history. Joe Biden has maxed out the nation's credit card. And now at this moment, where the credit card is maxed out, Joe Biden has gone into hiding, trying to run out the clock and create a debt crisis, demanding not that we address the spending problem that maxed out the credit card, but believe it or not, Joe Biden is demanding that he get another card to go max out. No family in America would run their household that way. And frankly, I think when you look at the polls and see how low Joe Biden's numbers are, nobody in America thinks that this is the responsible way for the commander-in-chief to lead this country. But if Joe Biden won't lead, House Republicans will. And that's why you will see us pass a bill this week to address the debt ceiling, but also at the same time to address the spending problem that brought us to this moment. I think people are hungry for this moment. They're hungry for this kind of leadership. You've seen it from Speaker McCarthy, Jody Arrington, whose bill it is, to all of us on this leadership team who have been working for weeks and months with all of our members representing every part of our conference. Anybody willing to bring ideas to the table, and there have been some really good ideas, and if you look at this package, it represents the most common sense, straightforward approach to addressing the spending problem that got us here as we confront the debt ceiling. Think about this, basic work requirements. You know, the voters of Wisconsin just a few weeks ago were asked this question: should people have to try to find work in order to get welfare benefits? Do you know that 79.9% of Wisconsin voters just a few weeks ago on a statewide ballot said absolutely yes? People understand that. At a time when every worker, every small business is looking for workers, President Biden is paying billions of dollars to pay people not to work. So when we say let's have some basic work requirements, we're not talking about small numbers. It's over $100 billion of savings that the taxpayers would get. That single mom that's working 2 or 3 jobs right now to make ends meet under this tough economy, she doesn't want to have to pay for somebody who's sitting at home working, who's fully able-bodied. And the important thing of bringing some of these important common sense measures, like work requirements, is not only does it save taxpayers money who are working hard, it also helps shore up programs like Social Security. We'll be able to put tens of billions of dollars back into Social Security, a program that Joe Biden has undermined with his reckless policies. We strengthen those programs by putting basic work requirements back in place. These aren't new ideas. These are ideas that Bill Clinton agreed with a Republican Congress to do back in the 1990s, and it worked, and it will work again. These are proven solutions to this nation's spending problem. And so we're proud to bring this bill forward. We're proud to get this bill passed this week. But it's long past time that President Biden stop hiding, stop trying to run the clock out. It's been over 2 months since he said he would sit down with Speaker McCarthy again and meet, and yet he's refused to do that. You now have a growing drumbeat of Democrats who are saying that it's time for President Biden to sit down with Speaker McCarthy. The country knows we can't stay on this unsustainable path. And if Joe Biden's not willing to lead and do something about it, House Republicans are. That starts this week. With that, we'll be happy to take some questions. Chat. I wouldn't call it hard as much as thoughtful. There has been a lot of hard work that's gone into how best to start this negotiation. Speaker McCarthy, again, over 2 months ago, did get the opportunity to sit down with President Biden. It would be a lot easier if Democrats were actually part of this conversation. You know, the American people have been part of this for a long time because they do this every day in their household. They figure out how to make ends meet with the dollars that they take in. This federal government, under President Biden, when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were running everything for the last 2 years, have gotten us to a point that for every $100 that comes in, the government is spending $129. You can't keep doing that. And so we would really like it. It'd be a lot easier if President Biden was sitting at the table with the speaker saying, okay, let's come up with ideas of how to solve this problem. But because they walked away from the table, we said we're not going to just sit back and run the clock out like President Biden. We're going to do it on our own. And so this bill represents a lot of really good ideas. If they've got better ideas, as Chairman Arrington said, not one idea was presented by Democrats yesterday. Not one concern for the young people of America who will pay this tab was expressed by Democrats. But we care about that. Yeah, there were some technical changes to address dates and alignment. If you look at the tax credits, for example, in the initial draft, it repealed all of the tax credits, but some of those tax credits were not part of the IRA, that legislation. Some were actually in place before that, so the intention wasn't to get rid of all of those, just the ones that were created in the IRA. And if you look at the scoring, it was really focused on that. So those clarifications were made to address that. Then on the work requirements, if you looked, there were three main components, SNAP, TANF. Not all of them aligned up on the same dates of implementation, so we wanted to make sure they all aligned on the same dates of implementation. So the good news is that we can vote as early as today on this. We're going to bring the rule shortly, 1:30. We'll be bringing the rule vote, which allows us then to bring the bill up, and it addresses the changes that were made. So we'll be ready to move as early as today. I wouldn't, tune out C-SPAN today if you're watching. We want to get this done as soon as possible, but more importantly, we want President Biden to finally start getting engaged in this process. You ask for the job of President of the United States to be not only the commander-in-chief, but also the leader of the free world. This is not a job where you run and hide when the going gets tough. This is the time where you step up. These are the moments that you come and run for these jobs to solve big problems. And I'm disappointed that the president is trying to run and hide during these toughest moments. And again, you're seeing Democrats. Each day over the last week, you've seen more and more Democrats coming out saying, President Biden's got to start negotiating with Speaker McCarthy. And I think you'll see that drumbeat even louder after we pass this bill.